everyone. Thanks for joining us on the SBP Podcast, the voice of mobile film. I'm your host, Susie Botello, and you are listening to episode 31. We're going to talk to one of the filmmakers from this year's International Mobile Film Festival in San Diego, Seth Dacio. Seth is from San Diego, and he spent the entire weekend participating in the film festival. The thing is, Seth just graduated from high school, but through this podcast, with a one-on-one with him, we found out that he has 30 years experience in the industry. How does that happen? Well, listen to the podcast to find out. And if you're ready to be inspired, let's go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the SBP Podcast here in San Diego with Seth Dacio from San Diego, as I just said. Seth was one of the filmmakers in our podcast, in our International Mobile Film Festival in last April. How you doing, Seth?
I'm good.
Yeah? I wanted to talk to Seth, and, I went and looked at your website, Seth, and one of the first things that struck me, you are 18 years old, and your websites, you have a rap sheet, basically, that's like a 30-year-old doesn't even have yet, First of all, the thing that just stood out to me says you're an FAA certified drone pilot.
Yeah.
Like, what did you just start when you were 5?
No. Maybe 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, they announced the certification for drone pilots. I was already a fun hobbyist drone pilot at that time, and I just decided I could become a certified pilot so I could be able to make videos through drones to put in my films that could possibly make profit in the future if I wanted to. But yeah, my main goal was to get the drone certification to be able to legally be able to put my drone footage into my films.
That's freaking amazing. I'm just like, wow, he's 18, he's already a drone pilot and certified and everything. I love that. I don't get to talk to many people your age that have so much of a background.
Thank you.
I was reading your bio and I was like, you're really going to inspire a lot of people and hopefully younger people too, because, you obviously, just like what you just said about the pilot's license, right? About not the pilot's license, but the drone license, that, it came out, so you just went for it right away. Like, hey, got to get that. You don't want to have any limitations, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. And then I was reading your bio, and it says, I've edited videos for Family Fun Magazine social media, and then I've created videos for weddings, photo montages, short films, small companies, such as Vestra Verba and Upgrade. And then I also, on top of all that, now again, guys, he's 18. I interned in the film industry at Eugene Scott Productions Incorporated, and I created videos for Poway Unified School District. I'm like, holy cow, Seth. So we can't obviously go back. I like to start, these podcasts with our guests by having them go back, to the beginning. I mean, you're 18, so it's not like we can go back 20 years, But how about that you at least share with me because obviously you're very focused and you made a decision that this is the industry, the video and film that you want to go into. I mean, you have plenty of time to change your mind, obviously. But what was it, or was it something, or how did that work out for you that you decided at such a young age, which I hope you'll share. Maybe it was 8 years old or something. I have no idea. But when did you decide this is what you wanted to do, and what did that for you?
Okay, yeah, sure. It was like very a while back. It's a long story, kind of.
That's
It
okay.
started when I was around maybe second or first grade, I think.
Wow.
Me and my family were in like, the mall. Me and my first sisters were having like just playing around in the mall, and I guess one of the workers at one of the stores was a talent agency recruiter or something like that, and then she invited us to be a part of the Hollywood group or something like that. I forgot. But we did that, and I became a background actor, maybe around 7 or 8, and then I background acted for like Lie to Me TV show, The Cleaners, Bones, and
Wow.
after like when I was in the experience in being a background actor, I was more interested in what the director was doing, what the cameraman was doing. I was looking more at what the camera was, the stage of like the Lie to Me set, rather than being. I don't know. I just had the technical side of the TV of filming that TV series that was in the background actor as interested, or was more fascinating to me. So like I didn't, well, technically I didn't, wait, I I I decided not to continue background acting, maybe fourth or fifth grade, and I decided to just create my own videos with my sisters and my family. We started creating videos, fun videos on iMovie 09 with like a cheap camera from a tiny and cheap camera from a Toys R Us,
Oh,
and
cool.
then yeah, and then ever since then, ever since fourth grade, I started making my own videos, and then started practicing, and eventually started making videos for more bigger events like weddings, photo montages for family and friends, created my own short films, and small companies like Vesture, Verbo, and Upgrade. That's like my school's like small business companies.
Yeah.
Internet Eugene Scott Productions. I hit, I I got the opportunity because my sister was basketball teammates with Scott, who's part of Eugene Scott Productions. His daughter was my sister's basketball teammate, so that's how we met. And we would I asked him if I could be a part of his team and help him out as an intern. He said yeah, so we went on to create. I went on to PA most of his work when he was a cinematographer, like Hazuki infomercial. We made a Hazuki glasses infomercial. I was
Nice.
PA. It was like 50 crew members.
Wow.
And then another one was like Comic Con from 2016, I think. Yeah. It was for Sky TV. We interviewed. I was PA. We interviewed like DC TV shows like Arrow and Supergirl for Sky TV's like DC fan show or something. I forgot. But yeah, and then also Powell Unified School District. I was intern for my senior year. I already ended my internship maybe a couple weeks ago, but for maybe about 10 months, we created videos every single month, showcasing the excellence of education of our school district. Like we would show middle school students going to a Qualcomm event where they would create things there at Qualcomm, one of Qualcomm's buildings. Another one would be like the ambassadors of our high schools throughout the school district and what they have done for the community. But yeah, that's stuff like that to showcase the school district and promoting it.
Like promotional, like promo videos, basically.
Yeah, like it's like promo plus like documentary plus news. Yeah.
Yeah, those are very popular. That's actually my specialty.
Oh,
Yeah, in my career anyways, and working in community promotional videos. And they're kind of like small documentaries because you want to document
yeah,
basically what happens in the community, and you want to emphasize, like the hardships and the struggles and the inspiring stuff too, like when someone goes from A to C, A, B, C type thing. And you're going,
yeah,
somebody who began here and then they went there, and you're showing successes and you're interviewing people. And sometimes you spend a lot of time interviewing somebody and you learn so much, and then they only use a little bit here and a little bit there. But when you're editing, or when you're even a part of that interview, even if you're just holding the boom, or helping out with the lights or behind the camera, whatever it is, you're listening to them talk about what it is they do, and you learn from it. And those are things you probably just don't forget any of those stories, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so you learn a lot that way. I think it's awesome, especially at a young age, that you got all that experience, because you know pretty much a little bit about a lot of things, right? Now that most people your age probably, well, I wouldn't say most people, but I would say a lot of people, even my age, don't even know about, right?
yeah.
And I'm like 100. uh, but yeah, that's amazing. All that you've done already. And so, I mean, I looked at the portfolio part of your website. What is your website? It's SethDacio.com, right?
SethDfilms.com.
SethDfilms.com. Okay,
Yeah,
everybody go there. Because you look at your portfolio, and I literally counted the number of videos that are on there right now. As of right now, you've got one per year of your age. There are 18 videos on there. I expected to see, a few, but I was just scrolling all the way down going, oh my God, he's got like all these videos on there already, and they look great, you
thank
know?
you.
And yeah, and good quality stuff. There's also the video that you made, the travel video, basically, that you made, the film that you made for the film festival. And I do want to take a little bit of time to talk about that in a minute here, but I want to know a little more, like when you said you were in your uh, what is it, the background acting, and
Yeah,
you were there, and you were basically, what captured your attention more than your experience as an actor was the tech side and the background stuff, the behind the scenes stuff, right?
yeah. Like the
Um,
directors interacting with like the cinematographers and the camera operators and the set designers. Yeah.
yeah, and so did you mention to any one of them? I mean, did you actually approach, like, say, the camera guy, and have a conversation, and hey, what's all that, and how do you do that, and did they know you were interested?
Oh no, I was too intimidated because like I was only like maybe like 7
Wow.
or 8, and then I don't know. I was like more. I just wanted to like just see from far away because like they looked very professional.
Well, yeah, and it was professional, I'm sure. But I think they would have, my advice to you would be, especially at your young age, never be afraid to approach anyone on a professional level,
Yeah,
as someone who's learning, because they are so, most people, especially in this industry, are so open to, not not when they say action, or right when they're like seriously setting up something where you've only got 5 minutes or something to go on air, or to do the run the shows, or videos or whatever. But just in before, like maybe even going there a little earlier, while they're putting together C stands and stuff like that. And approach them and just say, this is really interesting. How do you do this? Do you mind if I ask you a question or two? And you'd be surprised at how they would uh, take you under their arm, pretty much, and say, yeah, look, hey, look, and even showing you the lenses, because the rest of the crew members do that. you know
yeah,
all the PAs, that's the first thing they do, is they crowd around the guy with the camera or the girl with the camera, and they're like, oh my God, I want one. $20,000? Are you serious? How much for that lens? Oh, $2,000. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Like if you would have been on a set wherever I was and you would have started asking questions, I would have not had a problem. And I know anybody that I knew on the set wouldn't have had a problem with you asking questions, even as an actor. You know, there are some famous directors that started out like that as kids, kid actors, and then they moved on and they went to direct. Even Leonardo DiCaprio is one of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was an actor as a kid, and he grew up in acting. He was in a lot of TV shows and movies and things like that, but he makes films now, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just one. Ron Howard is another one, but that's like so from back when that you may not know who the hell that is. But yeah, there's a lot of people that start out like that. I would totally just give you that advice. Don't be afraid to ever, even if you have to ask that question, can I ask you questions? you know, that's pretty awesome. So for our listeners, about the film that you made for our film festival, was that your first film shot with a phone?
I think maybe not. I feel like I did make a video with a phone before, but I feel like it was not because before YouTube and all that, I would just post videos. Not post that. I would create the videos and then I would text it to my family and friends. So it was probably maybe one of those videos that is not out on the internet right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like I did make maybe like on my like old iPod Touch or something like that.
Yeah.
Or my iPhone 4.
Yeah, I used to make tiny little videos. They were very silly, just using apps on the 4.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever use the Super 8 app?
Oh, I heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, that one was creepy. Well, I made some creepy stuff with it just because it had those like the old sepia and black and white with the scratches, like it was film rolling. And,
yeah.
And anyways, I made all kinds of little things. And yeah, that's right. You could actually text a video to anybody at that point, huh?
Yeah.
So let's talk about what gave you the idea. So you went on a family trip or something, or how did that work?
Yeah. We planned on a family trip to the Philippines and Japan to meet up with family and friends from both countries.
And you just happened to be out, just kind of like most people do, and just videotape stuff, and then decided to cut a film out of it, or did you think about it while you were doing it?
Oh no, I didn't think about it while I was doing it. I just like filmed for the fun of it, and when I got home, I saw how much footage I got. I thought it was enough for like maybe like a short montage around a minute or so, and I just edited it, see what happened. Found a really good song for it, and yeah, I really like the outcome of the product.
Yeah, definitely. Look at you, product. I love it. It is. It really is. Filmmaking is a business now. And and that's one of the things I want to talk about too. We might as well go into that because a lot of people are just over the last maybe 2 years or just over 2 years have just started to realize that, about branding themselves.
Yeah.
And you've been doing that for a while. I mean, you've got, we're going to share these links with all of you listeners. But you've got a website with a portfolio. You have your YouTube and Vimeo channels for your videos. You have a Facebook page. You have Twitter handles, accounts, whatever. You have Instagram, and you even have, LinkedIn. How awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to send you the my IMDb page too.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, honestly, that's so important that you're setting that up now. So by the time that you're like maybe 21, 22, you should have a really good following, especially because of the content that you're adding to that. Do you read up on these things? How did you get to this point?
Um, Sorry, what do you mean?
Like how did you know that you had to create these things in order to have a standing online, basically, a presence?
Okay. Maybe around. Uh, so I'm like a techie type of person. So I already knew like Google has like this algorithm where like if you search up a person, then the most popular website will show up first. So maybe when I was around like 11 or 12, I'd looked at my name. Maybe I found a couple of sites for my family blogs listed. I like, okay, maybe I'll try to make a bunch of social media. They all have a similar Twitter, a similar handle, like the at username,
Yeah.
and all have Seth Dacio. So it feels like it's not a brand, but it looks like a brand because they're all like connected to each other.
Yeah.
So like if you looked up my name, you can see all of them. They're all linked together on my YouTube. They all have similar descriptions to each other to be able to for the algorithm to like recognize that if you search up my name Seth Dacio, it's the same person. So yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, there's not that many people that are your age. I mean, maybe that's just now starting to change. When did you create your LinkedIn?
Maybe third, maybe 3 years ago.
That's just amazing. That just blows me away. So basically, I get professionals. I mean, I talk to people all the time, and they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "Hey, are you linked on LinkedIn?" And they're like, "Yeah, nah," And then they'll have one because they do a resume or something. But I don't see LinkedIn as a resume builder. I see it more as a biography builder professionally,
Yeah.
you know? And so I'm like, God, you got to have a LinkedIn. And like, I know you're not into it. And it's not like a Facebook or something like that where you're just trying to get likes and things like that for the most part. I mean, that's just a way to reach out to, so people will see you. But the purpose of it, like for me, is because there's IMDb, but that's specialized for just film and video, type thing.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn is like anything you want. It's like your menu, like when you go to the restaurant, it's like
Yeah.
I'll just have, you got burgers, you got fish, you got pasta, that's what people go to, and it does have a good visibility with search engines with your name,
Yeah.
So it's very impressive talking to you because I think I hope there are a lot of people that will listen. I know a lot of people are into podcasts now. It's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
I've wanted to have a podcast for years, for example, but between one thing and another, I mean, I try to do something and just let it sit there just to grab it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like my name.com or something like that, and then I don't do anything for it for a while because I have to have a purpose for it, but at least I have it. Kind of like you with your license, right?
Yeah.
It's out, it's available. I'm going to go get one, and the reason for wanting to really do the podcast was because a lot of the filmmakers that I met through the film festivals and stuff like that, they were not even close to me. They weren't just up in Poway, okay? They were like, New Zealand and Spain and, places like that. And I was like, how can I just interview them? And not all of them can make it to San Diego, and some do. But then, when you're recording a video, you have a limit to how much, you can do with a video that somebody, because you're using up somebody's, all their senses with the video, right? They're
Yeah.
listening and they're watching, and they can't move away from it, like with a podcast, you're listening to audio and you can listen to it offline, but you can listen to it online, and it doesn't stop you from using your hands and watching and looking through and working on something online at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean, you could play a video game while you're listening to a podcast to
that's
your
true.
and so it does have a different thing about it, and that's why I wanted it, because I thought, a podcast is so you could just have a complete conversation and it can go on for an hour, and it's just like, it's not really eavesdropping, because like our listeners right now, they're listening to this and they're sort of connecting, and sometimes I'll speak with someone like you, with a guest, and you'll answer something, and I'm kind of, part of me is in tune with our listeners, thinking, what would they be thinking about this? What would they like to ask you? Like, for example, when you said PA before, some of our listeners may not even know what that is. And so, then I would say that's a production assistant.
Yeah.
And you do a lot more than get coffee for people. I mean, that's the whole purpose of it, is so that you learn stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just very impressed that you had your LinkedIn, 3 years ago, because that's where, when clients want to hire you, or when it comes to publicity, journalists and stuff like that, and they want to write something about you, the first thing they do is they go to see if you have a LinkedIn, and they get information, facts about you, from your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing. When you did your video, were you hand holding all your video, or did you have a grip, or a hand grip, or a steady cam, or a gimbal, or what did you use? Because
Yeah. Maybe 25% of them was the Joby hand grip. I'm not entirely sure what the name of it was, but it's the Joby hand grip. 75% of it was just handheld, probably using my my elbow, resting on like something like my leg, or an armrest or something like that, to keep it steady.
yeah, do you have a case on your phone when you're doing that, or?
Yeah, I have a regular Apple case.
Good for you. Because it's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars if it just slips.
Yeah.
It's more slippery when there's no case too. But also, what the case does is it gives it a little, at least a layer between your fingers and the actual phone. And I know they have, internal stabilization now on the phones, but there's still little vibrations,
Yeah.
coming out through our fingers, and sometimes it'll show. Do you ever use, I used to put it, like, if I'm going to do a pan, and for our listeners, panning means just basically moving left to right, or right to left, with a camera, but in this case, the phone. When you pan, one of the things, I was playing around with the slow-mo when it first came out, and I was inside of Starbucks, and I was panning, and I realized that in slow motion, it looks almost like you're using a gimbal.
Yeah.
So that's like a cool little. You use it. You go faster, like normal speed, but you use the slow motion in it. It's kind of a trick, I guess. So you had it steady, and then obviously you had music, so you didn't have to worry about audio, right?
Yeah.
And then you used the Shure mic. I think I know which one you're talking about. And you had to get the, what is it, E7, the little cable to hook it up to your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
Uh,
I got home with that, and then I'm like, why isn't it working? And I was like, I don't want to have to use the iRig. You know what I mean?
yeah.
For it. And then I found out that I just needed that. It's called the SC7, actually, little cable to plug it in. That's so when you use that, and you use that, does it have a mount for the because that usually hooks up to a shoe on a DSLR, right?
Yeah. The Joby one, the Joby grip I forgot what
Yeah.
it's called, but it's neat because it has two accessory things on top of it. It was called a grip tight POV kit
Yeah.
from Joby. So the top it comes with a Bluetooth shutter button, and it comes with a standard horseshoe mount.
Oh, okay.
So I just horseshoe mount the Rode uh, Video Micro on top of it, and yeah, I bought the SC7 uh, cord to connect to my iPhone. But only problem is that I have an iPhone 7,
Yeah.
so I had to use the
The
Lightning
adapter.
to adapter.
Yeah. I was not happy when they did that.
Uh,
I'm actually my phone is the 6S because I kind of got stuck like I need a jack,
yeah.
you now when you edit your videos, now listen listeners, we're talking about a lot of tech stuff, but we all know, and I preached this during the film festival, right, Seth, about how important the story is, not to get lost in all this.
Yeah.
But we're talking to somebody right now who's really pretty savvy with all this, so we're going to take advantage of you, Seth. uh, as far as apps are concerned, what did you use for editing? Did you go to iMovie and edit it on your phone, or did you use your iMac, or what did you do?
Yeah, I transferred over to my iMac, and for this project, I use Final Cut Pro X.
Ah, that's so similar to iMovie, though, huh?
Yeah, it's like a good transition between iMovie and Final Cut Pro. I started out with iMovie,
Yeah,
and once I went to Final Cut Pro, when they first came out with Final Cut Pro X, like in 2011, I think,
yeah.
it was a very like seamless transition. Even though other people didn't really like the original version, to me it felt like it was a big step up from iMovie.
Yeah, so I told you I was working in video production. So we were using Final Cut Pro 9, whatever it was. And, you know, um, for me, it was completely backwards, Seth. I started with
Uh,
Final Cut Pro and then went to iMovie because I was really interested in showing people, because of the mobile film school, in showing people how to use things that were free. Final Cut
yeah,
Pro was over $1,000 or something at the time. I think it was like actually, yeah, I think it was like 800 and something dollars. And so I was like, you could just use iMovie, to get through some simple stuff, right?
yeah,
And even iMovie at the time, even though it wasn't as cool as it is now, it was still you know, kind of like a toy. And then iMovie got really cool. It got a lot better. And then they changed to Final Cut Pro X,
yeah,
FCP. And everybody at the office where I was working was so upset because now you couldn't bring into the X the old projects and rob little clips from that to use with the newer Final Cut. So people were really upset with that. And then everything they said, oh, it's too much like iMovie. What are they doing? I'm like, everything is
yeah,
still there. It's just not all right there in front of you. You know what I mean? You just have to kind of look for it. But I got used to it right away. And then I decided, I don't want to spend this much money. If I'm gonna teach people how to use iMovie, I should be using iMovie all the time too. And so then I decided, well, I'll just save money too. So that's what I use. I use iMovie now, and if I want to get more, because you're limited on your video tracks. And
yeah,
so if I need more than 2 tracks for a video, I finish up, the version of the video, and then I bring it in and add more to it if I want to, or something like that, something simple. But I do, it's just long. It's about being creative. If I needed to do more, then I'll get, Final Cut Pro or something. But there's also, remember Brian?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, how could you forget him already, right?
yeah.
So Brian, he uses this. I had this a long time ago too. It was called Hit Film.
Oh yeah, head film, yeah.
Yeah, and just the free version is pretty cool by itself, to get more done. It has a lot of features in it, and then you can just buy plugins as you need it, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's so many options now for video editing, because before it was only video editors want these,
Yeah.
and now it's like, no, everybody wants them, because basically of people like you, and then everybody in social media, is all on to the fact that videos rule. so so they want to use these things, so the market is a lot bigger now. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with smartphone filmmaking. So your experience with different cameras, you also use DSLRs, obviously, and then you use the drone video. Do you shoot in 4K on your phone and in your drones?
My journal could support 2K. I have
Oh,
the
that's okay.
Phantom 3 standard, but uh, I don't really shoot 4K that much on my phone because it takes up a lot of storage on my phone.
Yeah.
Because I mainly have games on my phone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
um, for me, it's even just emails hog up my phone. um, so, okay. So for next year's film festival, you're probably gonna make a film. I'm just putting you on the spot here, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm currently making I made a video last week. Shooting. I challenged myself to shoot only with the iPhone. I have an iPhone 7, and I'm also thinking of making another experimental video for the for myself. Another, maybe I was thinking about the Filmic Pro
Yeah.
contest.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, I'm thinking of trying to challenge myself in making more iPhone videos now than before. Ever since I went to the International Film Festival, seeing what other filmmakers could create, like, inspired me to like create with my iPhone as well.
Hey, that's a good idea. I almost forgot. Maybe we should talk a little bit about the International Mobile Film Festival, because luckily it was in San Diego, so it wasn't too hard for you to get there. Your dad, by the way, hi David. I'm sure he's listening, right?
Oh no, I'm the only one here.
Well,
Sorry.
I mean, this isn't live, but I mean, when
Okay.
it gets published, maybe he'll be listening, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You're like, no, it's gonna be a secret. Um, your dad was so patient, throughout the entire. I mean, because you were there first for the meet and greet, and then you were there Saturday all day, and then you were there Sunday all day, and
Yeah.
and your dad was there the entire time. Just he seems like a really supportive dad. Did he always support you with all this stuff that you were doing?
Yeah. Also my mom, but
Well,
we're all busy. But my dad said he was when he was listening to all the lecture, not lectures, the presentations.
yeah.
He said it was very interesting and something new that he gained more knowledge in.
Yeah. Do he could be making movies too.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember Mickey Harrison, the 83-year-old, my friend who made a film. She was also the Lulu Films, one of the sponsors.
Yeah.
That film, the cooking movie that she made.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. She's actually working this month on another film for next year.
Okay.
Yeah, and she may just be a competitor next year instead of a
Yeah.
sponsor, because I told her, I'm like, you got to be one. You can't compete and be a sponsor. That's kind of not right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I'm just saying, maybe your dad can make a movie too, because he had a phone. I could see.
Yeah.
What is your dad into, also tech inclined? Like you
Yeah.
are?
That's where I got my tech type of knowledge from.
Yeah.
My dad inspired me. When I was little, he always like showed me all these cool Apple products, like when the first iMac came out and all that.
That's
He has
so
like
awesome.
he just like he's one of the inspirations that got me into knowing more about tech.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So a lot of parents don't realize that they just have to spend more time with their kids and just kind of treat them like, the cool things they are.
Yeah.
It's like they're just like little sponges, like, your parents are your heroes, until you grow
Yeah.
up. And even so, if you're your heroes when you're a kid and they're a part of it, most likely when you grow up, you'll still think of them as such, which is awesome. So yeah, so I mean, I kind of want you to make another film for next year just to see the growth in what you're doing. During the Q&A session, remember we were talking about Steven Spielberg and what you would say.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, watch me. That's just like,
What?
I wanted to quote you in that, like, so badly.
I remember that moment. I was like, oh, she set me up perfectly just to say that. Like, I'll be awesome to say that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was amazing. And you've been quoted. I think Brian, when we did the podcast, that he quoted you too. Um, because that was just like so perfect. I was like, my God, it's almost like it was scripted. It's like
Yeah.
what you would say to, Steven Spielberg about what was the question? Why don't you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah. I think the question was like, if Steven Spielberg was in the same room as you and he told you like, oh, why are you wasting your time like making movies with like your phone? You should be being working with more professional gear. You won't make it in this industry or something like that. I
Yeah.
forgot
Yeah.
exactly what the question was, but yeah. And then my response was, watch me.
I love it. Well, we're watching. I didn't realize that you had, because you didn't go into this part of it. This is why I'm really glad that you were a guest in our podcast, because you could share more in depth that way.
Yeah,
But you know, I didn't realize that you had all this background with you. And I realize that a lot when I meet a lot of the filmmakers. I meet them because they're making movies and films on their phones, and that's really about all I know about them. Unless they come
yeah,
to the film festival and they really want to go more in depth, during the Q&As and things like that. But it's a lot of times in if you get a chance to listen to the previous episode, this is like 31. But if you go back and just kind of pick and choose some of them, you'll realize that there are a lot of filmmakers that are making podcast phone films, right? Films with their smartphones, whether it be an iPhone or a Samsung or whatever. And you'll see their backgrounds, and they have really interesting backgrounds, and I just didn't realize that you had all this behind you, which is fantastic at 18. I mean, and
thank you.
literally you just turned 18 in April, the same, just a few days or something like that from the film festival, right?
Yeah,
So that's like yeah, I'm really glad that we met, because I mean, I would love to see you, even if you don't make films, to keep being a part of our community in mobile filmmaking in San Diego, which is connected to to it worldwide, globally. And always, keep connecting and networking with all these filmmakers. Like, for example, as you were talking about making films, some of the filmmakers that you met, like Brian or Norel or any of them, they came all the way out from Australia. I mean,
yeah.
Australia is like literally one of the farthest places from where we are right now.
Uh,
And so to connect with them, and did you guys connect after?
yeah. I didn't. I wish I had a business card, but I connected with them through like Twitter
Yeah.
and all that. But right after the film festival, I realized like, oh, I need to get a business card, so I made a business card. And then also my website, I didn't have that website during the festival, so I made that
Oh.
after the festival as well.
Well, I'm going to share this all over my social media, and they're connected to that. And then I'm going to share it for our listeners. If you go to Mobile Film Festival on Facebook, it's going to go there as well as our Twitter and all that. So when you go there and you check out I write an article, about each podcast that I have. I don't just put out the podcast and put all the links on the notes and say have a nice day, because when we do that, they'll have an opportunity to connect with you that way, and if you connected with them, especially I think Facebook is better for messaging. I kind of wish after everything that's gone on with Facebook that they would just have like a messaging app and throw everything else away almost. Because it's like, I think a lot of people that I know just use Facebook for messaging.
Yeah.
It's really weird, huh?
Yeah.
It's got a great messaging apps that kind of works almost like a text message on your phone, you know? But you can connect with people like, I don't know. My idea would be like, hey, Facebook, you know what? Get rid of your personal social media profiles and just have everybody create like a simple profile for messaging. I mean, you could do group messaging if you really wanted to, you know, and one-on-one. And I mean, they could get away with just doing that on Facebook, and stop all this, I don't want to go there, but everything that's happening with Facebook, and then just use that. And then profile pages, the public ones that we all know is going to go everywhere, right? All the data is going to go everywhere. And that's for businesses and brands and, public figures like that, like Seth. But yeah, I really wanted to also go over. So you said you used the Final Cut for your film.
Yeah.
And Final Cut doesn't have an app for the phone yet, right?
No, they don't. Yeah.
Have you? That would be funny, right? If you have you edited on the phone before?
I used iMovie sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about because I use not on the phone so much because it like it hogs up all my phone, all the memory, all the storage. But I've played around with it too. There was an app a long time ago. Do you remember? It used to be called Splice.
I'm not. I feel maybe it sounds familiar just a little bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So basically, it would do. You could do. So on the phone, you shoot stuff, right, and then you open up this app Splice, and you can from your camera roll you'd get your video, and then you can use transitions and titles, and then it would connect for audio. Like it had little silly little songs, whatever, but it could also connect to your iTunes or GarageBand.
Oh, okay.
And you could use your own audio, and that's kind of like what got me on the idea, because I used to play around with GarageBand making like kind of jokes as just for experimenting, like songs, music. This is like way back, like 2007 or something, 2006, 2005, I don't know. And then I thought, well, I don't really want to mess anymore with like royalties and all this stuff for making music, and copywriting. And why should I pay for music if I can make just little things at least, on my own? Because they're not like, hey, check out my song and rock out to it. It's not like that. It's just like songs that fit, you just got to have something on some of these videos, especially like promotional videos, right? The ones you're talking about, how that goes. It's like, just
some
put
type
something.
Of ambient noise,
ambient
sound, music.
Ambient, something to go kind of along with that. Yeah, exactly. And so you just need something. And so I was like, well, you can combine little things, and nobody's really like listening to it like it's, I'm listening to, I don't know, name a band, whatever your favorite one is. There's so many, I don't even want to name one because people will say she listens to that. But whatever it is, you just make a song and you put it on your video, and it's half and half, right? So it doesn't have to be the best thing in the world. It just has to be half of the best.
Yeah.
And then you use that with your videos and things like that. Well, I think, where did you get your song from?
Um, for this one, I think it was from the YouTube audio library.
Yeah, I just ran into that the other day, actually. I was like, oh, they have their own library?
Uh,
You know? And so, but they have a lot of songs on there,
yeah.
you know? But I've actually listened to commercials before where they're using an iMovie song.
Oh, really? Dang.
Yep. I'm trying to remember, you know, one day, because we're both in the same kind of city. And so I'm sure I don't watch TV, but I watch YouTube videos, and I know they kind of promote stuff from us, you know, from San Diego on
Yeah.
the commercials. So next time I figure out which one it was, I'm gonna send you a message and say, listen to this. Because you'll go, what? That's an iMovie. And iMovie gives you like maybe what, 7 songs or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't believe someone used a television commercial, right, where they have good budgets, and they used an iMovie song that like most people would recognize and go, obviously you just edited this on iMovie, or you just using the iMovie song, you know, because a lot of people don't know that when you use those songs, you don't have to worry about royalties.
Yeah.
And if you upload the Apple loops on your GarageBand, you don't have to worry about those either. They're yours. You compose your own music with it. It's kind of one of the cool things that I like about Apple. Now, you know, Brian, you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Because Brian and Norel had the battle of the phones,
Yeah.
like the battle of the bands. Um, and uh, we had this huge, well, it wasn't huge, it was hysterical actually. This ongoing battle between Norel Nash, who won third place in our film festival, and Brian Hennings, who won first place. And they had this comical battle going on between them about that. And then you jumped in that podcast, and you kind of tried leveling the field a little bit because you're also an Apple fan.
Yeah. But I'm also like, nothing wrong with Samsung, but like I'm mainly like Apple person. But I see Samsung's pros and cons. I still notice Apple's pros and cons.
Yeah.
So they was like be neutral at the same time, like provide like uh, a neutral answer to both sides for the two competitors.
Yeah, no, and you know, honestly, like I was telling them at the time too, I've seen some videos that were not shot with an iPhone, and they're aesthetically, you know what I mean, with the resolution and everything, they just look really nice. This the last podcast that we just did, episode 30, for our listeners. See, they're always there. You know, I'm thinking about you. um, they it was a film that I just got to see. It's brand new, and it was shot with a OnePlus 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, have you heard about the OnePlus?
I think so. Yeah. Is it those ones where you can like clip on like a add-on to your phone or?
I'm in kind of a dork on this one. I have no idea. But I had heard about it from before from people that, you know, that I've been talking to about mobile film. I think it was about 3 years ago that someone was saying, you know, everybody keeps talking about Androids and, you know, Samsungs and this and that, and nobody talks about the One Plus. And I love it, you know, and it shoots really great video. And so when I saw that film, I didn't realize what she shot it on. It was Christina Isoli. I didn't realize that she shot it with a One Plus, and it just, because the film, I mean, it's also the way that it's shot and made. It's got really cool titles and transitions with music, and you know the colors. She worked on every little aspect. So even you know the wardrobe that they used, the colors that they used, everything. And I completely forgot. I was watching. It was like 12 minutes or something like that, and I completely forgot that I was watching a film that was shot on a phone. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, and the quality of that phone was pretty awesome. You know, to me, what gets me, I mean, chime in whenever you want to, but to me what gets me is the, you know, the cost of using apps with Android versus, you know, Apple.
Yeah, for me, it's like it's not based on like what phone you use. Like it could be a iPhone, it could be Android. But for me, it's like if the story is good and if the editing is good, it hides the fact that it was shot by um that shot by something that you can have in your pocket, even though it still looks really great footage. It just hides the fact that um the good editing and good storytelling hides the fact that uh the viewer the viewer's perception of like what a phone would look like. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's like, like what I was saying before, that when it comes down to it, it's about having a good story, but, also the way that you structure it and how you're going to present it and perform it basically in a video or a film.
Yeah.
Are you going to, I know that your specialty is promo videos and you like that's, my favorite genre is documentaries as well. Um, and but do you plan on making narrative stories, like like cinema movies, actual movies too,
Um.
with
At the mo
actors?
Yeah. At the moment, I'm not entirely sure. I like documentaries mainly because uh, it doesn't involve like I don't know. I just scripts take me a while to create. Like I maybe make like two short films that I really enjoy to make. Not really. I really that two short films that I like the script.
Yeah.
Maybe a year. But I want to get into more narrative films, but documentaries. I feel it's more like
That's your thing.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I hear you. And the cool thing about it is, like, even a documentary, you have to have, well, this from the field, you have to have a script too. It's just a different
yeah,
kind of a script. It's more like a planning script. Like, here's your audio and here's your video, and here's, you have on one side, it's a 2-column script. And
yeah,
you see, my thing, they used to call me the B-roll queen. And anyone who's listening to all my podcasts knows that I mentioned this a lot because I miss it. B-roll to me is an art form in itself,
yeah,
and I mean, you could shoot something in 10 different angles, and throughout your video you may be able to use the same thing, just because you shot it in different ways, and it fits in as long as it fits, okay. But when it comes to documentaries, there's an art form to it as well, because there's different kinds of documentaries, right? There's like the documentaries where you're sharing a particular story, you know, with your viewers, and you're bringing someone into that story, and it's not made up. It's true. You're
yeah,
gathering facts. When you're interviewing people, you can't put words in their mouth and things like that, right? But you can go in with this insight. I'm going to make a story about bears and how bears love trash cans. I'm just giving you an example, right? And then
okay,
all of a sudden, you go there and you're shooting. You're thinking it's all about bears and how they get into trash cans, but you find out there's all these raccoons, and so now it's like, whoa, this is turning into a bears fighting raccoons over the trash can contents, right? And so now your story, you can't get away from the raccoon. So you know what? We're gonna have to change the documentary. It's not about bears getting into trash cans. It's about how the bears and the raccoons fight for trash stuff.
yeah. It's
you
cool. It's
know?
cool how documentaries could like when you're filming and the moment it could like evolve the story and all that, like depending on the situation or whatever's happening in the documentary that you're filming.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you have that choice to make as the the filmmaker, making that documentary, whether you're going to follow that path and continue that way, or just wait and shoot it again, and maybe it will be the way that you want it to, and things like that. But you can't create the story, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Which is really, really, and that's a challenge in itself. Some people think, oh, it's just about recording interviews and people and things around there, and that's it. Well, no, it's a story too, and but it's
yeah,
it's got its really cool challenges to it. I really do enjoy documentaries a lot.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
you said you were at Comic-Con in 2016. That's the time when I was first there doing my filmmaking panel for smartphones. Isn't that funny?
Uh,
Yep. And I remember what you were talking about, that broadcast, because I think that was the first time they introduced that. It was like their own TV or something, right? Basically, with all the panels. Well, a lot of them.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't do it anymore, though.
Oh, no, I haven't kept up with their.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
they only did it that one year and then they stopped or something. But,
Uh,
or maybe they did some last year. I can't remember. All I know, it was a big deal that year. They were really marketing it. Are you going to go again?
I was gonna, but then me and my family are going other places to hang out since I'm graduating soon.
Nice. That's awesome. There's an opportunity for another video for you, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I've got a little game that I want to play with you really quick.
Okay.
Because, I did tell you, everybody else is going to get jealous. You told them, you didn't tell us. um, but it's you're going to have 20 seconds. And how about we do apps that you like
Okay.
or that you've used? How's that? Apps that
All
you've
right.
used. I mean, now that we can go back since you were like 8, no. Maybe we can go back and you can name all the apps that you can that you like or that you've used at least.
Like, does that have to be filmmaking related or?
Yeah, kind of. Well,
Okay.
at least that you use in film. Like even if they're for a photography, you can put those photographs in your video as well. So just name all the apps that you've used that end up in your videos, in any video.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Um.
Ready, set, and there's going to be an alarm at the end, by the way, just to give you a heads up.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
lower my volume.
No, don't lower it. I want it to now to surprise you.
Okay.
All right. And go.
Pro HDRX, Filmic Pro. I use Adobe apps like Lightroom, their Photoshop mobile version. 1 second every day. It's a cool app where like you could film 1 second every day, and you can have like a montage of your life. Oh.
It's like 20 seconds it goes before you know it. Hey, that's pretty cool. I've heard of that app before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. That just gives me some ideas for something. But I won't share it with anyone yet. So we're gonna do a bonus episode with Seth on our Patreon page, and it's gonna be exclusive just for our patrons. Seth, why don't you share what we're gonna do that about?
Yeah, sure. We're gonna talk about an app, a chroma keying or a green screen app for your phone, that allows you to in post put in anything on your phone through chroma keying, and it also features like marks that will help motion track your phone when you're editing on like Final Cut or like Premiere or any like Film Express, anything that could be able to chroma key.
Cool. All right, guys. So follow us on patreon.com/SBP Podcast. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners, Seth, before we leave, that they really need to know about mobile filmmaking that maybe you didn't know until you did it?
When I went to the film festival, it made me realize how much mobile filmmaking is actually the future. Recently, Red came out with their new phone, and other companies are coming out with phones that are like cinema quality now. But yeah, when I went to the film festival, without going to that film festival, I wouldn't have known that. I probably would have had an idea, but I wouldn't have I would have a broad idea, but without going to the film festival, I wouldn't have a strong idea and knowledge about how phones is the future of filmmaking.
That's awesome. I didn't pay him to say that. No, yeah, it's true. It's because you get to meet so many different people and so many different views, and everything just kind of comes together, and all the presentations and everything. And speaking of the film festivals, really quick, what was your favorite part? I know you said it in that other podcast, but maybe listeners haven't heard about it yet. So what was your favorite part of the film festival experience for you?
My favorite part was the red carpet because that was my first red carpet. Me taking a photo on the red carpet, as well as me with my dad and with the cosplayers. But also networking was also great. It will give me another opportunity to network. I wish I had a business card or something else. I only had like social media, so I followed them on Twitter. But next time, any other event I go to, I'll probably bring a couple of business cards and maybe like follow them on Twitter again or something like that, or any social media platform.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, listeners. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I find it very special. Seth, you're amazing and awesome.
Thank you.
And follow Seth. Seth, what's one at least? Well, why don't you name two of your favorite social media profiles that they can follow you on, in case I don't feel like reading the notes?
Okay. I like Twitter, Seth D Films, or Instagram, Seth D Films. I post photos and I do stories sometimes on my Instagram. Twitter, I just talk about filmmaking related stuff, or drone related stuff, or tech related stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've shared, I know I retweeted one of your videos, your tutorial. Well, it was a review, actually.
Yeah.
On an
Oh
app.
yeah. They offer. It was, the app is called Enlight Video Pro, I think, or there's a pro version. It's called Enlight Video Leap. They reached out to me because they saw that I was attending the International Mullen Film Festival, and they offered me like a pro version of their app to try out, and I did. I really liked it so much that I wanted to make a video review about it, and I've always wanted to make like tech reviews, but I never
Nice.
But I never like wasn't sure how to like create them.
Yeah.
For myself. So I try to find my own version or my own way of creating tech reviews. So my video of the review about this app was like the main video that showed me what type of video or what type of tech reviews I could be making in the future. Yep. So it also motivated me to like create other tech review videos. So hopefully in the future I create other tech review videos as well, not just apps, but maybe like products, etc.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And yeah, you're right. They probably heard about it from that you were in the film festival, and they thought, how cool is that? We'll offer him to review one of our apps and do it on video. That's awesome. Seth, congratulations for all your success. You only have a few more years to go of life, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you're way ahead of the game.
Thank you.
And I hope that people out there are inspired to just jump in, because you heard it from Seth. It's the future.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.